Hi everyone! On this episode, I'll be showing you how to make this 8 by 4 foot raised garden bed. I'll be including measurements, tools, and supplies needed. Stay tuned! Okay, so the garden bed that I'm creating is 8 feet by 4 feet, and it's a raised garden bed. So I had to go out and purchase some pressure treated wood because it's going to be outside. So I purchased 8 2x4s by 8, and I purchased the corrugated steel roof. This is the kind, it might rust over time, but it's going to take quite a bit. So I purchased 3 of those sheets. And after that, what I did is I ensured that all of my cuts were the same. So I kept these here. I have 4 of them at 8 feet. Keep in mind that when you buy them from the store, they're not at precisely 8 feet. So I did have to cut them down to make sure that I got the 96 inches total. And then I need 4 of these, and these are at 45 inches. And I needed 10 of these, and these are at 19 inches. And my next step is I'm going to be putting in pocket holes to put this all together. To do the pocket holes, you can use, in my previous videos, I was using a Craig pocket hole jig, and that works great. But because I have to do so many pocket holes, I actually already had this one. So I can just basically feed the 2x4 here, clamp it down, and then just go ahead and do all the pocket holes. There is a Craig one. It is nicer in my opinion, but I already had this one, so I figured why not just use it. And there you go. So now I'll just flip it and do the other side. This thing worked amazing. I had so many pocket holes to do, and it just cut down my time. So I really liked using that. So for anybody who wants to build this, let me just explain where I put the pocket holes. So for 6 of the short runs, the 19 inches, I did pocket holes at either end. And then for 4 of them, of the 19 inches, I did them at both ends, but I also did them here in the middle. And the reason for that is you'll really see it once I put the bench together. But when I adjoin these corners here, I'm going to want to drive a couple of screws here to have this corner attached to itself, just to provide some more sturdiness. So 4 of them, I put the pocket holes on the sides. And the others, which were the 45-inch runs here, I did the pocket holes on either end, on all 4 pieces. The only ones that didn't get pocket holes is the 8-foot runs. All right, I took the project outside because this is actually a pretty big bed, and had I assembled it in the garage, I would never be able to get it through the gate to get it to the back of the yard where I plan to put it. So I'm going to start with the base, and here's the 8-foot runs, and here is the 45. Now remember, the 45s are the ones that have the pocket holes, so I'll be drilling into the 8-foot runs. All right, so I thought I would explain how the process of which piece of wood I attached when. So don't make the same mistake as me. I originally had built up each of the corners first, so these 2 pieces first, not realizing that I have 2 pocket holes that go into this board. So I actually had to take this one out to then screw both pocket holes into the top. So when you're putting this together, build the bottom first, then do the one that goes on the long run. the 19-inch without the side pocket holes. Put those in first on all 4 corners, and then put the top 8-foot rail on both sides. Then you can put in the other 19-inch. So now you can see there's 2 pocket holes here, and now these 2 get drived into this one for extra sturdiness. So definitely put this one in first. Again, it's the one that's attached to the 8-foot run. You want to put that one in first. Don't be like me. Didn't do this. Put these 2 together and then realize, oops, I need that pocket hole to drive into here. And the last piece is just putting in the 45-inch rails, and I'll use these pocket holes into it to adhere it. And then the entire frame is done. Here's the garden bed frame all completely put together. So now I'm actually going to move it into its spot. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to stain this the same color as my fence over there, so it sort of blends in. And then the corrugated steel that I bought, most people just leave it silver, but I'm actually going to spray it, spray paint it black. So I'm kind of going for a little bit more modern. So far so good. And again, don't let the size deceive you. It looks small, but this is a very big garden bed. So originally I was going to put it up against the fence, but because of its size, I have to be able to go all the way around it. So I'm actually going to plant it in the middle. Okay, so I did the first coat of stain. I went really light. It's actually a gel stain. It's really just to match the older fence that was already here. One thing that I missed in the previous segment was I forgot to attach the middle straps here for added support. So I added them afterward, right before I stained it. So don't forget the added supports like I did. Luckily I caught it in time before I added the corrugated sheet. Speaking of corrugated sheet, so I purchased 3 panels, and it should be enough to do the 2 8-foot sides and the 2 4-foot sides. Usually people just install it as is, but I'm actually going to spray paint it black. I just wanted to change the look of it a little bit, and I'm just using this flat enamel, flat black. I noticed that they have the custom spray, the 5-in-1, which gives a high output at level 1, so that's what I'm going to be using. There's also the new Rust-Oleum Turbo cans, and I would have actually purchased that, but they only had it in high black gloss finish, and I didn't want that. I wanted a more flat look. So here's what I'm using. Okay, now that the corrugated panels are set to drying, probably not going to install them until tomorrow. So this is actually a matte finish, even though it looks glossy right now. But as it dries, it'll get more matted. You can kind of see it right here. So yeah, I think they came out pretty good. So while those panels are drying, I installed this sort of like handrail, I guess you can call it. You don't have to do this step. I just kind of liked the finishing touch to it. I liked how it looks. So I went out and purchased these pressure treated wood in a 1x4x8 length, and I'm going to stain it the same as the bottom here. I did this for 2 reasons. One, it's nice to just put things on top of, like a cup or something while I'm gardening, or a tool, and also it's going to keep from your fingers getting cut on the corrugated metal once it's installed, because it will be up to this lip. So I just thought it was like a nice touch. Has a lot of advantages to putting in. You don't have to. It's your preference. I just figured while I'm in it and cutting a bunch of wood that I would also do this. So I purchased 3 of these 8-foot boards, and it was enough to do both of these sides and the shorter sides. So full disclosure, because this is 8 feet, you can see here that I have a lip, but on this side it is flush because the entire bed is exactly 8 feet. So if you want it to have the lip all the way around, you're going to have to get longer boards. So I would say get two 10-foot boards and then get one 8-foot board for the sides. So that should be enough. I kind of knew that that was going to happen ahead of time, but I figured, you know what, I don't care so much to make it look like a finished piece of furniture. I think this style is just enough, and it would have not fit in my Jeep. I just have a Jeep Wrangler, so I'm limited on length size, so I picked up the 8 foot. So I'll be staining this the same color as the base and attaching the metal. And here is the raised garden bed with the corrugated metal sheets installed. And to attach these metal sheets, I used these screws, and I ensured that it was corrugated metal to wood. So those are the kind that I used. And the reason I used these is, one, because I was screwing from the inside because I didn't want to see the screws from the outside. And they have a little flange there that kind of protects it from water getting through. And you can see that I've already started to fill the bed with some yard debris. Yeah, so overall, I love the way that it came out. I'm glad that I did paint it black, the flat black. You don't have to. It all depends on your own preference, but I wanted it to look a little different. And eventually this space will have crushed stone everywhere, and it'll be a finished little garden.